Jill and Kris, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about Sleep Out and Covenant House. So Jill, I'll ask you first. You're the Chief Development Officer. What is Covenant House and how are you impacting these communities of youth who are houseless?
Well, thank you so much for having us first. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak with you today. Covenant House is really, we are the leaders of the movement to end youth homelessness in the Americas. And so we work with, in the United States and Canada, we work with young people who are primarily 18 and up, like in their early 20s, that pivotal time when you're moving into adulthood. And then in Latin America, we work with younger people because they don't have a child welfare system there to really help address homelessness. And we help young people to find that path within them to, live their dreams. And so it begins with us developing a relationship with them and helping to meet their immediate needs, and then grows into them discovering like what they need to change in their life so that they can have their own place to live and be independent. And then, much more probably importantly than all of that, it's building that relationship that helps them to discover what they want to do moving forward so that we can help them find that path towards not just independence, but a happy, healthy adulthood.
Absolutely. And, a lot of younger kids, they don't realize that they have these opportunities and these resources. So that's amazing. And, youth homelessness crisis is on the rise, like young people don't know what to do. How can we find solutions and why is it so imperative that we address this?
Well, I can start and then I'd love to hear what you have to say as well. We have this opportunity of working with young people when they are at this crossroads in their life. Their adolescence, I always have felt, is their superpower because they are not so far down the path of homelessness that leads to often addiction and mental illness, where it's so much harder for them to find their way back. But then also they're not kids who don't have agency and autonomy over their decisions and their lives. And so we are, we consider ourselves to be like an intervention organization, like when young people begin to experience homelessness or right before they're unhoused is when we often come into their lives. But in so many ways, we are a prevention movement because we are helping to prevent adult homelessness. And that's, I think, what one of the ways we would consider our movement to be a success is if there are fewer adults who have to live on the streets because they receive the care and relationships and service and love that they needed at that pivotal time in their lives.
Absolutely. And Kris, do you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. To add on to what Jill said about intervention and prevention, I think part of what my role is that we have this robust alumni community that is really geared toward restoration and toward making sure, as Jill mentioned, we don't have young people repeating the cycle of homelessness or experiencing homelessness as adults. And so the alumni community grants them this network of peers with shared lived experience, but also keeps them connected to us, to Covenant House, so that they're able to reach out to us for additional support later in life. And sometimes that means we have alumni who come back and get jobs with Covenant House. Wow. We have a really great success story in California of a young person who now manages one of the living communities for homeless youth out there. So we're just trying to, as Jill mentioned, get them at these pivotal moments of young adulthood.
Absolutely, and that's so important. It kind of brings to mind what they actually experience. So when you have a young person who's experiencing homelessness, they come into your program, what are some of the first steps that you take with them to put them on the right track?
Do you want to start with that one?
Sure.
Okay.
I will start with unconditional love and absolute respect. You'll hear it when engaging with Covenant House, you'll hear it all the time because it's something that we truly live by. We call it Cov Love. We wrap our young people in love and respect and autonomy, as Jill mentioned. We like to say that homelessness is not monolithic. It doesn't look the same. All of our young people aren't homeless for the same reasons. And so we just are careful to address all of the possibilities for a young person having this experience right now.
Right, absolutely. And, we talked about a little bit about how you guys have had an impact. What are some of the actual solutions, like I just addressed a young person coming in, what are some of the solutions that you guys line up for them? This, that.
Well, I think the very first the very first thing they're introduced to, and then is the through line of our entire journey with them. Goes back to what Kris said. It's all based on that that relationship of love and respect. Like that's I think what makes us special in the work that we do. And so through those relationships, we are first helping to meet their most basic needs. And so if they need to sleep, they can sleep. If they want to shower, they can shower. If they want to brush their teeth, they can brush their teeth. If they are hungry, we will feed them. And then once those kind of basic needs are met and they begin to develop a level of trust, we work with many come to us without any personal identification. And so we work to make sure that they have that, because then that's going to be the foundation of them getting a job and going to school and moving into their own place. And then we work with them to figure out what it is that they want to do to become independent. So for many of them, because they're young adults, they begin to work, and we have a really robust workforce development program where we offer through some partnerships with Cisco and Accenture and Google opportunities for them to learn a career. And for some, they just want to go right out and get a job while they're learning more about building a career. And so we help them to do that as well, so they could begin to make and save money to be able to move out. Many want to continue their education at the same time, so we'll help them to do that, especially if they haven't graduated from high school yet. So many have come to us suffering from mental illness, and so we have on-site counselors and therapists and professionals who help them to begin to process some of the challenges that have come to them through abuse or neglect, or living in impoverished communities that kind of conspire to create some of the mental health challenges that they face. Most of our programs also have either on-site medical care, or if not, direct access to medical care for young people who often haven't seen a doctor in a long period of time. And so helping them to, to kind of put all those tools in their toolbox, so that as we prepare them to be able to move out, they have money saved, they have stabilized, they've learned some life skills, and can then move out onto their own.
Awesome. Well, that's great to know. And I'm so happy that they have these resources. I know you guys are kind of dressed up in your pajamas right now. Do you want to tell us about the event Sleep Out tonight that's happening in Foxborough at Gillette?
Absolutely. Do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay. So first, I sometimes I like defining things by what they're not, right? So Sleep Out is not mimicking or pretending that you are experiencing homelessness. Like every single one of the, at this point, thousands of people who have slept out with Covenant House over the past 13 years have know that at their core, that they are sleeping out in solidarity with young people, but they are not, and they're getting a teeny tiny glimpse into what it might feel like to experience homelessness for one night. So today, here in Boston, it's cold and it's rainy, and I know personally, I'm not even feeling all that great today. And when I sleep outside today, I'll have that glimpse into what it feels like to, sleep outside in the cold, chilly rain when I'm not feeling great. So, and that happens with young people every day. The difference is that they then have to get up and live their life, and then do the same thing again and again and again until they could find a place to be. And so aim number one is the awareness of the solidarity with young people experiencing homelessness, and then coupled directly with that is fundraising. And so tonight here, in Massachusetts, but then also throughout the country, we have people sleeping out who are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars in each respective community to fund the movement to end youth homelessness.
And Kris, do you want to speak a little bit more to that and what it symbolizes for you?
Absolutely. So a part of when I say write the program, I want to point out what Jill mentioned about not mimicking homelessness, right? We're sleeping out in solidarity. And I think something that really, really speaks to that is the fact that we have former residents who are a part of alumni community, as I mentioned, come back to participate. We have 2 of our alumni here in Massachusetts tonight who will be on stage telling their story and talking about how much Covenant House means to them and how it got them to where they are today. So we have alumni speaking, we have partners and supporters who will be there tonight to talk about why they're all in with Covenant House, which is kind of our slogan for this year, just to be all in all the different ways you can support Covenant House. And then we celebrate, as Jill said, our top fundraisers and all the work they've done to really galvanize their communities in support of Covenant House.
Amazing. And thank you guys so much for all the amazing work you're doing for not even just Boston, internationally. It's really incredible.